Welcome to the Elevate Effect, the official podcast of Cedar Hill, Texas. I am your host, Mayor Stephen Mason. As the highest point from the Red River to the Gulf of Mexico, our thriving city is elevated in more ways than one. We will have great conversations with thought leaders and change makers, answer community questions submitted by you, and share important city happenings. Now, we are live from the Poetic Justice Studio at the Traffic Hickman Library in 3, 2, 1.
But I tell them all the time, I say, girls, you got to find something that you love. If you find something that you love at the end of the day and figure out how to make money doing it, it's a win-win.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back for this episode of Elevate Effect. Today's conversation will be full of business insight that you don't want to miss from local businesses right here in Cedar Hill. And we will be recording from our Poetic Justice Studio. Please welcome Mike Tansey, the Southwest Division President of Pratt Industries, America leading 100% recycled paper and packaging company that recently opened right here in Cedar Hill. And we have Brianna Gonzales, owner of the Social Chica, a co-working space in downtown Cedar Hill that provides marketing and event services designed to empower women in businesses. I look forward to talking with both leaders about what makes Cedar Hill a strategic location for a business large and small to thrive. So Mike, Brianna, welcome to the Elevate Effect.
Thank you.
It's great to have you both on the show. Before we get started, if you could please tell the listeners about your background and what led you to your current positions here in Cedar Hill. Brianna, we begin with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again. Just a little bit about my background. It's always been in marketing. When I graduated, or I went to school for advertising, but when I graduated, I ended up at a marketing agency. And we were actually officing out of a co-working space in downtown Dallas. And then after that, I just kind of focused on my business that the Social Chica that I opened or created in college. And at first, it was just more like a branding, logo design company, just a way to make money in school. And then after that, when I was kind of just focusing more on my business, I then went on to a nonprofit, which again was a co-working space. So I think I've just always been in that industry or area, which inspired me to create one and bring it here to Cedar Hill.
Well, I'm glad you did. So thank you for coming to Cedar Hill. Mike.
Mayor, thanks for having me. We really appreciate it. I always enjoyed time with you. So, so just to make it brief, because I'm quite older than you guys. I started, I went to Denton High School, went to North Texas, got in the corrugated industry when I was 26, went into sales. I'll try to give you the short version. Went with another company, not Pratt Industries. Ended up jumping to Pratt Industries in 2000. I started as a stint as a sales manager in our New Orleans facility. About 2 years later, got promoted to general manager in Richmond, Virginia. And then soon after that, I went to Humboldt, Tennessee, right outside of Jackson, Tennessee, about 90 miles from Memphis. And went there and I started our one of our corrugated manufacturing companies. From there, I came back to Dallas in about 2005 as a general manager and vice president of sales. And shortly after that, I got a call from our global chairman, Brian McFeely, and he asked if I wanted to open in plants and kind of be over the Southwest. And I wholeheartedly agreed, and here we are today.
With the corporate office being in Georgia,
yes,
there is about 200 factories globally, but strategically you chose Cedar Hill. Can you share why and how is Cedar Hill your destination?
It starts with our relationship with the city. As you know, we were out looking at a few different buildings. With ours, it's very strategic in regard to logistics and so forth, but there's a lot of other factors that play into it. What really attracted us to Cedar Hill is yourself, the city manager, and the council ability to work with us. We also came across Hillwood, which we partnered with. They had already broken ground on the building that we were looking at. As you know, a warehouse is a little different setup than a manufacturing facility in regard to concrete, power, gas, and so forth. So they worked hand in hand with me. I'd like to give them a shout out because they just did a phenomenal job, I think, in the three entities just working together. But really, at the end of the day, when you start looking at the DFW Metroplex, we are shipping cartons every day into the Metroplex and fighting the traffic and so on and so forth. We have entities in San Antonio, we have entities in Houston, and we have an entity in Monterrey, Mexico that we also ship corrugated products to. So being on the south side of town was very strategic for us. And then also, as you know, Mayor, we're a very sustainable company, and with you guys backing up right up to Joe Pool Lake in your backyard, you guys got tremendous. I mean, even the library and the building we're in today was totally built with sustainability practices in mind. It was just a great fit for Pratt Industries. So we're very, very happy to be in Cedar Hill.
Well, that's great. I just want to ask, how do you measure success now that you have been here in Cedar Hill for 1 year?
Well, for example, we just set a record in sales in Cedar Hill this month.
Wow.
So we're continuing to build. We're about halfway home to where we want to be. We're back on track. Obviously with some of the delays that we went through after COVID, machinery, equipment, buildings, steel, so on and so forth. We did take a slight delay, but we're back on track and heading in the right direction. So we're about halfway and on our way to doubling our sales. So as you know, Mayor, it's a rather large building. It's 1.1 million square feet, and first of its kind for Pratt Industries. But we're back on pace and really looking forward to the future.
So I know of one product that you can see, their branding. If you go to Home Depot and you order some boxes off the shelf, you will see Pratt Industries, not just Pratt Industries, but also located in Cedar Hill. So it's good to see the immediate impact that you have here in Cedar Hill.
Absolutely. Yes, Home Depot, we actually ship into every Home Depot in North America. So we're very proud to have the Home Depot folks as a partner of Pratt Industries.
And you mentioned partnership. I have to say this, and I'm going to say it publicly, but part of our contractual relationship is that the Cedar Hill Longhorns have to win a state championship.
That is correct.
Mr. Superintendent, if you're watching, the pressure's on, okay? Brianna, you are a local business owner. Welcome to Cedar Hill. What do you see as a key advantage of running Social Chica here in Cedar Hill?
Yeah, so for me, it was just about playing in a playground that no one was necessarily in yet. So when it comes to co-working spaces, we see those a lot, especially in the central downtown Dallas area, but we really don't have anything like that south of 35. And especially for us, being that we cater specifically to women entrepreneurs, it was just really important for me to bring that here. I moved here when I was 6 from the Oak Cliff area, so I've pretty much been in Cedar Hill my whole life. It's pretty much all I know, and I just really love like the hometown feeling of it, especially in the downtown area of Cedar Hill. And it just kind of happened. Like, I wasn't really looking for it. It kind of just started off as like a goal of mine, like maybe later in my 30s, but it ended up just falling in my lap way earlier. And so it just happened, and it's been a blessing. So
great. I'm a product of Cedar Hill as well. I graduated high school here, went to middle school here, but it's good to know that our talent is going away for college, and bringing the skill sets back here. So thank you for considering Cedar Hill as your destination. What kind of community support have you experienced here in Cedar Hill for your business as a local entrepreneur?
A lot. I've received way more than I initially thought, especially just, growing up in Cedar Hill. We've always had small businesses here, but now with like the evolution of like digital media, things like that, we've been able to get the word out like way more. We've done a lot of different things with the city, whether it's markets, small business grants for our events. So it's been great to kind of have that mutual relationship to where we can both support each other. And even just from the community, just hearing from women like, oh, we need stuff like this here, or I didn't even know that you guys were here. It's just kind of like validation that it's needed, especially for women entrepreneurs.
As an entrepreneur, business owner myself, I resonate with what you deal with on a daily basis. I'm sure our listeners will be able to connect with your stories as well. If you was to give one advice, questions for both of you, to our listeners who's aspiring to be a top executive or an entrepreneur, what would that be?
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Oh. Well, I think for me, my biggest thing was I was always scared to ask questions. I've never really had the confidence to do so. So once I started to, kind of get over that and started asking questions and just leaning on people for help, I was able to get a lot further, not only in my business, but kind of just the business education side of things. And I was really able to find people who would not only help me, whether it's asking questions, but support me through all of my business operations, and even just connecting with local organizations. So that's another thing is, don't be afraid to ask questions, but also collaborate and just work together.
Great.
Mike, any advice? I'm taking notes.
Yeah, I've kind of lived by a few principles. As you know, I have 3 beautiful daughters, and I tell them they're getting into the age now. We have one graduated, one's just getting out of school, and one going into school, so they'll be hitting the workforce. Actually, our oldest, she actually works for Pratt. She's in customer service, Texas Tech grad, and so we're real proud of her. The other 2 are employed, but have not found their career yet. But I tell them all the time, I say, girls, you got to find something that you love. If you find something that you love, at the end of the day, and figure out how to make money doing it, it's a win-win, because nobody wants to get up in the morning and go to a job that they dislike. I mean, it's just a miserable life. I've been there before. I love what I do now, and so that's a key principle. Also, continuing education, whether you have a trade, you look at the box business, you look at the corrugated industry. When I started 30 years ago, technology has come such a long way, and you have to stay on top of it. So you have to stay on top of technology, you have to stay on top of your trade, your career, and then you have to be committed, and you have to work hard. And I know, as you know, as an entrepreneur, it's 16-hour days. Sometimes it's 12-hour days. It's Saturdays. It's Sundays, and you just have to be committed. And even on the bad days, you still got to show up and work hard. So, and then the final thing I think, Mayor, is you have to take some calculated risk. If you just sit and wait for things to happen, it's not going to happen. So, I think a good calculated risk is a great trait of an entrepreneur or an executive.
Risk reward. You got to balance the risk reward. Mike, I've never shared this with you, but we have been knowing each other for a couple of years now. One thing I've observed from you is it appears from the outside looking in that you balance, life, work pretty well. You spend time with your family. You post it on your social media. Any advice about, having that work-life balance?
Yeah. So, I'm just a quick story. So I had a rep that was struggling, and I was riding with this particular person, and she said, Mike, I'm struggling. I said, I understand that you are. And she said, how did you do it? I mean, what did you do every day to help you, become more successful in our industry? And I said, and then again, this is just a prime example. I said, take the cell phone out of your purse. And I grabbed it with the cell phone that was sitting on her console, and I put them together. And I said, until you put these 2 things together, it's going to be very, very tough for you to be successful. And what I do every day is I got 7 days in a week. I've got a family to manage, and I have a business to manage. And I may be at a school play at 10:30 in the morning on Tuesday, and I may be at a football game with 20 customers on a Saturday watching college football. So I just look at it. It's one big thing. I have to take care of both. And I think it also helps with the stress level to kind of manage your life that way, just not cutting off business at the end of the day and going to family and cutting off family in the morning and going to work. You got to kind of incorporate that into your entire week. So.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for work-life balance? Do you have any routines that you try to follow?
With me, it's really just keeping my health on, priority, because if you're not healthy, then you can't run a business, you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your family. So for me, it's just really making sure that I can check all the boxes, making sure that I take care of myself before anything else. I don't have kids or anything yet, so I don't know what that life is like. But for me, it is hard trying to manage business and I guess social life. A lot of young entrepreneurs, it's hard because we want to go out with friends and make time for them. And we can't because, you can if you want, but it's just one of those things, like, are you committed? Are you dedicated? Or, would you rather work hard and have fun later, or vice versa? So for me, that's just kind of what it's been lately, or what I've experienced.
Yeah. It's a level of sacrifice that you have to do in order to meet your success goals. I mentioned the superintendent earlier today, but I imagine one of the things that really drew you towards Cedar Hill when you was trying to get to know us and court, the city for your interest to be here. I mentioned about partnering with our school district and see what programs that Pratt could offer. How is that going? Have we started yet? And kind of tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, I just talked with our HR professional today. It is summer, so it's a little tough to get a hold of some folks. But I think in the fall, we're going to kick that right back off where we started and actually start implementing some of the programs and some of the protocols, if you will, to get young kids coming out of high school, get them over to our facility, train them, because our machines are very high tech, get some on the job, hands-on training. When they graduate school, they have an opportunity to come over, work for Pratt Industries, already have some training. And then also, as well, if they pick a career in the packaging industry, then we will also help for reimbursement for their college. And if they choose to just take the vocation and work, we've got plenty of jobs and opportunities at Pratt currently. So I think that program's going to end up taking off, and we're going to have some select individuals. It's not going to be for everyone. But we're going to get those protocols and some of those things kind of nailed down, I think, this year. And we're hoping to get some folks in Cedar Hill coming to work for Pratt.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the win-win. As leadership within the city is looking for businesses to come here. It's not just for a place of employment, but it's also, is there opportunities for your employees to actually live in our city, dine in our city. But in this case, we're targeting, the scholars. Mm-hmm. And if scholars can be able to come to a facility like yours, get a certification, and even if they decide to stay with Pratt, great, they got the experience, but they still got that certification, that experience, maybe use it on their resume, use it towards college. All of that is the goal. So
100%. And we do also, we take that a level higher. We have a really nice college internship program that we do. I think we had 25 interns across the country. We bring them in. Our global CEO, Brian McFeely, talks with them. And then they share their experiences, and it's anything from accounting to manufacturing to sales, to human resources, all types that are getting ready to get out of college and start on their career. And our hopes are is that they have some interest in the box business. I thought you used to go to the back of a liquor store to get a cardboard box, but somebody has to make it first. So
that's right.
So there's all those opportunities as well. So our internship program is getting stronger at that level, and we hope to bring that down into the high school level, because again, we have a guy that can come in, he can get a job with us, and he can work first shift and go to school at night, or you can work second shift and go to school during the day.
Yes.
So, and then all the while, if they want to get that degree in packaging or something that has to do with the box business or corrugated industry, well, then we'll be happy to reimburse that individual for that education.
So you heard it. One of our biggest employers here in Cedar Hill. This is a jewel. So parents, scholars, please take advantage. Go to Pratt Industries, see if there's some intern opportunities. Check with the Cedar Hill High School to see if there's any opportunities to get a certification so you can be able to get the experience and begin your career, maybe with Pratt Industries or hopefully with the manufacturer of your choice. Brianna, a couple of questions. How did you get the name Social Chica?
Yeah, so I was in college when I started my business. I think it was Christmas break. I was coming back home, and I know you mentioned your daughter went to Texas Tech. I graduated from there as well. And I was just literally just sitting on the couch in my house watching TV. And at that time, my business was just a business. It didn't necessarily have a name yet. I started off by helping one of my friends with her boutiques here in Dallas with her social media management, branding, things like that. And it just got to the point to where I was getting a lot of messages like, hey, can you help me do this, do that? And I was like, okay, and like I need to be for real about this. So I was just thinking of names, and I have no idea how I came up with the Social Chica. It just kind of came up, and which was really kind of funny at the time because I was very shy. I would not speak to anybody, but I named my business as Social Chica. But in ways it kind of helped me because eventually, you are your brand, so you need to, step into your power, and it really helped me learn how to be social, learn how to communicate and talk with others, network. And that kind of just became the whole thing of our business anyway. We create a community for women to network, find resources, and support each other.
Mike, I want to come back to you. This Cedar Hill Library only been open here for a couple of months. When it was under construction, it got a badge called LEED Certified. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes, sir.
So our LEED certification, I believe our designation is silver or platinum certified. That is a kind of a badge of honor if you're in the engineering world. But even before our library, our Cedar Hill Government Center has solar panels. It also has a wind turbine. We actually have an area for vehicles that run on just energy to be able to have a plug-in station there. So I would say that Cedar Hill is sustainable, but there is a sustainable component within your industry. Would you like to discuss?
Absolutely. So, Pratt Industries, as you mentioned, we're the largest 100% recycled packaging company in the country. We're soon to be the largest producer of 100% containerboard and paper in the country. So really proud of that. And what we do is, and we say this all the time because I've been with the company for 24 years, we were recycling before it was cool, right? I mean, back when I was a kid, you took the trash to the curb, and I had no idea where it went. Now, children today, they don't know any different but to recycle. But we've been doing it since we started in Australia back in 1948. As you know, the resources in Australia are scarce. So we had to come up with ways to manufacture paper without cutting resources down, meaning trees. So just a couple of stats for you. And I don't want to mess this up because it changes all the time. But sure. Pratt Industries, now this is every day, Mayor. Pratt Industries saves 85,000 trees in our paper making process. We don't cut any trees down. We save 35 million gallons of water every single day because we use a lot less water in our paper making process than our competitors. We save 20 million kilowatts of power every day because it takes less energy to make the paper out of recycled material than it does out of pulp. And then we divert 16,500 cubic yards of landfill diversion. And then the last stat is 5,000 tons of greenhouse gases being emitted into the air because when you chop a tree down, it emits greenhouse gases. So we're really proud of those stats. And it's been exciting to see us evolve over time. And the funny story is when we came down to Cedar Hill, I drove around, and shame on me. We talked. I was from Denton, didn't make it down here a whole lot, But if we're going to move 250 employees down here, or in mine from Cedar Hill, and the wonderful people that live here to be employed by Pratt Industries, I want to see where we're living. So I drove around and I was shocked by the green space. We talked earlier, Joe Pool is in your backyard. The walking trails, the parks, the beauty of the city. And then you parlay that with having some industry come into town, and then I see the infrastructure, restaurants, shops being opened up. Again, entrepreneurs coming to town, coming back home. It was very exciting. So throw on the sustainability with you talking about with the library and some of the other things that you guys have done as a city. You're committed to it, and it really meshed with me, and we knew we were home.
Wow. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but you grew up north of here, probably about 70 miles away. Haven't really visited towards Cedar Hill, but it's growing on you, and I'd like for you to kind of touch a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That.
Well, as I said, logistics was a great and big part of it, but coming to the city, again, the relationship that we built with yourself and your staff. We just felt very comfortable. We do this all the time. We're growing at a clip of 20%. We're looking at buildings. We're looking at new places to grow constantly. This is my 10th one, and I just felt very, very comfortable, with the city, with the amenities that the city had, and again, just all the green space and all the just wonderful activities that people can do here in this city. And it was the right thing for us to do for a number of reasons, but that was a big one for sure.
Well, you always have an open invite, but let's make sure that we connect as football seasons for our high school is coming around the corner. So I'd love to, for you to come and join me one day soon.
We talked about catching a game.
Yes, sir.
And I had two of my girls graduate from Legacy High School, and I think they moved into the district, so maybe we ought to catch that one.
Oh, so we're gonna have a little rivalry? Is that what you're saying?
We might. So, but no, we would definitely enjoy that for sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to catch a game.
High school
football in Texas is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and you're celebrating your 1-year anniversary. Do you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah. So in whole for the Social Chica, we've been around for about 5-6 years now, but we celebrated our 1-year anniversary in opening the HQ in Cedar Hill, in downtown Cedar Hill. We celebrated that last week, the end of July. So it's been really amazing to see how it's kind of flourished. Being in Cedar Hill, it was a little scary at first because I knew there was nothing like what we're doing here yet, and that's always the scary thing. But I kind of just took it to my advantage and give a service that was not yet here. And so it's been great to kind of just meet women and men too who are interested in our services.
I think my last question is, was there a moment that you knew Cedar Hill was the place to be?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, it was all about finding, a playground that no one was in yet. And that's actually a phrase that stuck with me for a long time. I was accepted into one of the MAV's Business Assist cohorts, their business programs, and someone said that there. And I think that's when it kind of clicked, is like, why am I trying so hard to handle business in Dallas, which was such a saturated market, still is, when I can literally bring that where I live in the South, where it's not happening, as far as the coworking, the women entrepreneurship. So for me, that was kind of the moment. And, it was scary at first to bring that to Cedar Hill. And a lot of people told me, why are you doing that there? You should do it in Bishop Arts or here and there. And it just never felt quite right. Cedar Hill just was home, and that's where I wanted it to be. And I had so many great memories growing up here that I just kind of wanted to give that back to our community. Yeah. And new community members as well. So that's just when it kind of clicked, and we've received great feedback, because the number one thing that people say is, we don't have anything like this over here, or I'm tired of having to drive all the way to downtown Dallas to do this. And that was my experience for a while as well. I just wanted to get up and drive 10 minutes down the road and I'm there, you know?
Right.
So that's just kind of what I wanted, to create a new opportunity.
So since there is a demand in Cedar Hill, so that was one. And then I think Mike touched on it earlier. There's a risk reward, there's a risk factor, and a calculated risk actually is what you mentioned.
Yes.
And you brought it here to Cedar Hill, and so far you're here after 1 year, and it's been successful. So that's good.
Thank you.
Mike, I know you kind of touched on it already, but was there a moment that you said, yes, Cedar Hill is where I need to be?
Yeah, and again, I think it came for me in phases. You know, our relationship came together, the building came together.
Yeah.
But I do remember one specific time I was coming from the west, came in the back way, and went over by the lake, came in, swung around through that way, and I thought, man, what a cool city. You know, and again, it gets back to the parks and green spaces, and again, sad for me, but didn't get to experience it until in my adult life, and only lived a few miles away for a long time. So again, we're happy to be here. We love our relationship with the city, and we're going to be here a long time. And we're still excited about it, and a lot of growth for us still yet to come.
So I really appreciate you both being here and sharing your insight. I would imagine that if someone wants to do business with Social Chica, that you have a website or a following. Do you have a platform that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So our website is just thesocialchica.com. And then on Instagram, it's the Social Chica. But that's kind of where we're most active, is either Instagram or our website.
Okay. And Mike, is there a website or something we can follow you?
It's prattindustries.com.
Okay.
You can go there and find out anything from our locations to how many entities that we have, where we are across the United States. You can find out about our sustainability message, and then also find out about employment opportunities there too. So very, very good site.
Today's City Happening segment is all about the fun events coming up in Cedar Hill. Country Day on the Hill is back for its 87th edition. Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 12th, when our historic downtown comes alive from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We will have a parade, craft vendors, tasty food, fun activities, and live entertainment across 3 stages. For more details, visit the event link also in the show description. I hope to see you there for this iconic family-friendly celebration. I am also excited to invite you to join us on Saturday, October 19th, as we commemorate the 20th anniversary of our Recreation Center. Bring your family and friends to share in the festivities and reflect on how the Recreation Center has been a hub of community spirit and well-being. Be sure to click the link in the show description for more event details. Last, but certainly not least, is a special event that I am really looking forward to. The Cedar Hill Chamber of Commerce Gala, which is their largest fundraiser of the year. It is coming up on Friday, October 18th. This gala is all about celebrating the outstanding businesses, trailblazers, and community leaders who make a difference in our city. Doors to the Traffic Hickman Library open at 6:30. And the theme is An Evening in Hollywood. So be sure to arrive in your stylish, camera-ready, red carpet attire. Visit the link in the show description for more about the event, to purchase tickets, or to inquire about the sponsorship opportunities. Now it's time to turn it over to you, and for me to answer some questions that have came in from our listeners. If you have questions you would like to ask, please click the link in the show description below. The first question that I have is, what book have you read and recommend for self-development? I typically like to read books in leadership, anything for entrepreneurship, but recently I have also read The Mamba Mentality, this book here, and I'll tell you one cool thing that I took away from this book. Again, Kobe Bryant, Mamba Mentality. But in his off season, he wanted to do something to strengthen his ankles. And two things that he has done. One thing was he actually did tap dancing. So he spent his off season to do tap dancing in order for him to get prepared for the upcoming season. And that actually looked. So my takeaway from that was how to get creative in order for you to be able to overcome any adversity that you have went through during your previous season to get ready for the next season. So that was one of my memorable takeaways from the Mama Mentality. Next question that I have is, do you have a favorite local tradition or event that you look forward to every year? We just had our National Night Out. I like that tradition because the purpose of it is for the police and the community to come together. That's the whole purpose of National Night Out. But I also love the fellowship, communities coming together, laugh, dance, they have food, just a great time for the community just to come together. If you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, please give us a thumb up and also share with your friends and neighbors. Thanks for tuning in to The Elevate Effect, where we're raising the bar on community connections and innovations here in Cedar Hill. See you next time for more inspiring conversations and city happenings. I'll be ending each episode with a reminder to encourage our community to build wealth for our families and future generations. Remember, the art is not in making money, but in keeping it. Save and invest wisely. Create generational wealth. Thank you.